Hey, you all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the South. More specifically, it is our final day here in New Orleans, our final hours, actually, because in just a little bit, I'll be getting on a train known as the City of New Orleans, to take me out of the City of New Orleans and up to Chicago. It has been 1 month since I have been at my own home, and I'm not going home yet. It's actually maybe a long time before I get home. I got to head up to Chicago, get my car, and I actually have a whole different road trip planned that I hope you guys will enjoy. But I wanted to show you, before I leave, I wanted to show you my hotel where I've been staying, my home, for the past week. I would like to show this like earlier in the trip. I'd love to show like where I'm checking in and where I'm staying in relation to everything else. But you know, for safety concerns, people knowing where I'm at, I have to wait until I'm actually leaving in order to show my hotel. So first off, just one of my favorite things about this hotel, and I got a good price. I got a very, very good price, shockingly good price for such a nice hotel. And one of the most amazing things is that we are right here. Right in front of the hotel is the streetcar line, the St. Charles streetcar line. Now, all week I've been simply stepping out of the hotel, standing right over there where there is the stop for the streetcar. Unfortunately, yesterday they shut down a big chunk of the streetcar line. I was very fortunate because I was able to experience the streetcars, been riding the streetcars from here to the French Quarter all week, but last night they shut them down and made some severe modifications. So you can see the streetcar there parked on the track. Now this section of the track is still active. If you're wanting to go that way, if you're wanting to go, I went this way to go to the City Park. I went this way to go to the St. Louis No. 3 Cemetery. If you're headed that way, you're still good. You can just get on one of these streetcars and head in that direction. But if you want to go any further, you cannot. You can't go on to Bourbon Street using the streetcar. They've got the track blocked out right up here. You can see the simple metal fence they have up in order to block the streetcar. Seems like they're doing repairs on the tracks. You know, these things have to happen in order to keep streetcars running. So the track stops here, and in order to go on to the French Quarter, you have to hop on one of these buses. They apparently are kind of replacing the buses, the streetcars with buses. So the buses here, you wait here, the buses will actually take you the rest of the way. So you really can, it doesn't stop your progress at all. You just have to switch to a bus to head down to the French Quarter. And I guess that's going to be for the next 6 weeks. But let me show you my hotel here, the Maison St. Charles. Maison, I actually I think yesterday looked up what the word actually meant. It's house. Maison means house. So the house of St. Charles. This is St. Charles Street right here. And this is Maison St. Charles, the house of St. Charles. Now this here out front, this is just where you check in at. The rooms are back this way through this courtyard. And you can see the beautiful mural here inside this courtyard. A little sitting area in here as well. All the nation's flags hanging up there. So this part of the mural shows the Mississippi River. You can see the steamboat there. And in the back you have all these mini streets with fun names like Rue Mardi Gras, which means Mardi Gras Street in French. Another mural here. Families enjoying a meal. I like this tiny horse right here. Oh, did someone invite Teddy Roosevelt to this soiree? and Burt Reynolds. Oh, and it looks like Pedro Pascal showed up as well. Yeah, so it's almost like a little set of streets back here with all these different buildings. At night when I come out, there's all these different feral cats sitting out here, but I'm unable to get any of them to come to me or let me pet them. I think they're pretty smart feral cats. They're just interested in food. Yeah, back in here is where my room is. Got multiple buildings here. They kind of like surround a little courtyard, and my room is up there on the second floor of this building. So I stayed in room 210. I'll give you guys a tour of my room. This is very nice. This room is very clean. These beds are very comfy. I really have no complaints. No complaints at all. A little chair there with a table. I didn't edit there. I actually edited over here. Now, okay, this is one minor complaint. So the air conditioner is under the desk. So usually I get irritated because I edit every night, and they always put the table by the air conditioner, so it's always like blowing cold air, so you have to mess with it and switch it around while you're editing. This is literally under the desk, so it's like blowing air directly onto me, like from inches away. So I'd have to adjust the thermostat, try to get it to a good temperature while I was sitting there. You know, most people don't edit every night, but that, for me, that was a chilling experience. And yeah, like the checkerboard bathroom there, just everything was a-okay. Only another minor complaint. So I could not find a do not disturb sign. So every day they came in and made my bed. And I'm like, when I am normally in a hotel, I really don't like people to come into the room. I like to just leave it be for the time I'm there, and maybe ask for towels or toilet paper while I'm staying. But I couldn't stop them every morning because I would be out filming. Every morning they come in and make my bed. I think some people would think that was a positive, but to me, I was like, dang it, because I don't like the bed. It's just so silly. I don't like the bed tucked in really tight at the bottom, so I'd have to get back and untuck the sheets so my feet wouldn't be trapped. Now, the Maison St. Charles actually does have a restaurant here connected to the building. This is Mr. Ed's Seafood. I've eaten here a few times. When I got done filming early, I would grab some dinner here. So I figure before we leave the Maison St. Charles, we'll have one more meal here at Mr. Ed's. I showed up a little early. I think it may not be quite 11 o'clock yet, but I got a good seat. You can see the unmoving streetcar there outside the window. I ordered something I've never had before. This is a crawfish beignet. Now, normally I'm familiar with beignets where it's basically like a donut covered in powdered sugar. But this looks like a completely different animal. So there's crawfish beignet. It sounds like a perfect New Orleans treat. This is looks like deep fried, almost like fried chicken, and then it has some pepper jelly on it. Really curious what this is going to be like. Really not sure how to crack into these. Just cut one open. Oh yeah, look at that. Just packed with crawfish on the inside. Again, kind of like a flaky pastry. It's not like a poofy donut like a normal beignet. This is very interesting. All right, let's try that. It's really crispy, kind of like a crunchy bread. But the crawfish is delicious. That pepper jelly is good on there. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought I was getting like a puffy, sugary pastry full of crawfish, but that's what I got. Pretty yummy. That's pretty yummy. I think the pepper jelly kind of brings it all together. I didn't even know savory beignets were a thing, but I think this may have been the best beignets I've ever had. Often as I eat at restaurants in New Orleans, I end up ordering dishes much like this. This is called the Taste of New Orleans. It's got red beans and rice, jambalaya, and crawfish etouffee. Because I love all these things so much that I don't want to just settle on one. So I end up getting like these combo platters just because I can't decide, because I love them all so much. I love New Orleans cuisine. The problem is I just can never decide what I want. There's the etouffee. Some red beans and rice. And a little bit of jambalaya. Ooh, the red beans and rice has a nice spice to it. Jambalaya with sausage and chicken. They got a bonus sausage here as well. And with that, I say goodbye to the wonderful tastes of New Orleans. I've had some amazing food over the past week. So they let me stash my luggage at Maison St. Charles for now. And I did want to go check something out that's in walking distance. Just noticed this tree here covered in Mardi Gras beads. I would think all the trees would be covered in beads, but it seems like this is the only one. I wonder why this tree in particular is completely coated in beads. You see the signs here: no parking, parade route, 2 hours before parade until 2 hours after parade. I guess this is mainly for Mardi Gras, but I do think it's a lot of fun that they have a permanent metal sign letting you know there's enough parades happening here to have a permanent sign regarding parades. We do see some more Mardi Gras remnants. It's the power lines covered in beads. Turn here at Harmony Circle. We were walking back here through the campus of the World War II Museum, where I did a full video the other day, and I feel like there was a question in the video I never really answered. In the beginning I asked the question, why is the World War II Museum in New Orleans? Now really, World War II Museum could be anywhere. It's a world war, the entire United States went through it together, so really anywhere they decide to put it would be appropriate. But what was the impetus to build it here in New Orleans? And there actually is a good reason for that. Originally this was not the World War II Museum, this was the D-Day Museum. It focused specifically on D-Day, specifically on storming the beaches of Normandy, the US taking France back from the Germans. And you can kind of see that going through the museum. There is a heavy emphasis on D-Day and the events of that day, of that conflict, of that battle. And New Orleans played a very important role in D-Day, in that the boats, the Higgins boats, were built here in New Orleans. The boats that sailed in on D-Day, opened up, and then let the troops, the other vehicles, out onto the beach. Those boats, they're called the Higgins boats, built here in New Orleans. So a very appropriate place to build the D-Day Museum. Now, the museum itself became very popular. It grew with time, and eventually they came to talk about the entire conflict, the entire World War II war. And that is why we have the World War II Museum, this massive museum. This takes up this whole part of the city here. It's this massive campus. That's why we have it here in New Orleans. And this is what I wanted to see before I left New Orleans. Is another tip from Nola Deege. Is this right here? This vehicle is actually a sky car, and it is actually from the 1984 New Orleans World Fair, one of the few relics left of that World Fair. As we've traveled the country, I've become quite fascinated with the World Fairs that occurred in the United States. We've been to a lot of the locations where World Fairs have taken place. Some of the remnants, like Chicago, Seattle has the Space Needle and the monorail. San Antonio has the Tower of Americas. Now, there's not much left from the 1984 World's Fair in New Orleans. This sky car here, one of the only remaining bits. Now, this was during the fair. It was actually on a sky car that went over the Mississippi River, which is absolutely amazing. Wish I could have been there. But the 1984, the last World's Fair in the United States. They are having a World's Fair in Japan this year, which I wish I could go to. I wish I could make that work, but nonetheless, this was the final World's Fair in the United States, as you know, as of now. You know, who knows? I hope someday we do get another World's Fair here in the U.S. Now the Riverwalk, like the River Park area, that's where went to French Quarter Festival, where all the vendors were, where all the bands were. That was part of the World's Fair grounds there. So it was right by the Mississippi River. So World's Fairs, Mississippi River, some of my favorite things combined. And again, one of the last relics here, the sky ride over the river. Now, apparently the 1984 World's Fair did not go well for New Orleans. Apparently it acted to declare bankruptcy before the fair was even over. And yeah, it was 2 years earlier they had the World's Fair in Knoxville. Then 2 years later, not too far, you know, a day's drive, we have the one in New Orleans, and it would mark the end of an era, the last World's Fair in the United States. And I was actually just reading up on you know, kind of what happened, you know, the bankruptcy, and some people actually blame Epcot. They said that Epcot in some ways made World Fairs obsolete because it was a permanent World's Fair type exhibit, gave people less motivation to travel to different cities. But makes me sad. Nola Deeds told me he actually got a chance to go to the New Orleans World Fair, which makes me so jealous. Never been able to go to one. I would have been 4 years old when that happened. I don't also know there's like a big pole up here too. I don't know if that's part of the original Sky Ride. So maybe not the most fondly remembered World's Fair, but a World's Fair nonetheless. Yeah, man, wish I could have been there. Wish I could have rode over the Mississippi River. I say, City of New Orleans, come on, build a Sky Ride over the Mississippi River. I promise I'll ride it at least 3 times. I promise. So that would have been a grand sight to see, but sadly, that is in some ways the 1984 World's Fair, the end of an era of World's Fairs here in the United States. Headed back over to the Maison St. Charles. I think I'm going to pick up my luggage, and I think it's about time to head to the train station. So I did make an attempt to try to not buy a lot of stuff while I was on this trip, but somehow luggage has a way of growing whether you like it or not. So we're going to drag this to the train station. Oh my gosh, I got my colossal backpack full. I got this dragging behind me. Again, this is the one downside of traveling without a car, is that in between locations you become a pack mule for your own luggage. This Popeyes here is open till midnight. It served me well on a few late evenings editing. You see that big random skyscraper sticking up right there? That is actually completely abandoned. It has that net at the top because apparently there was like crumbling granite at the top of the building that was falling down into the streets, possibly causing, you know, certainly a hazard to have big chunks of granite falling from a top of a skyscraper. So they put this big net around it to catch any falling debris. And the building just sits here empty in New Orleans. See all the dirt being pulled up over here all this construction. This is all work they're doing on the streetcar lines to get them back up and running. So here is the Museum of the Southern Jewish Experience. Definitely would invoke the EM rule here, but it looks like they are closed for today. I guess they're closed on Tuesday. But yeah, definitely want to check this out maybe next time I am in the city. And we have made it to Union Passenger Terminal. Have this brightly colored art outside. And there is our terminal on the other side of the art. There you see the Superdome poking out over there, that iconic stadium. And it really is just huge, massive to see it up close. And you know, it's become part of the city skyline, and I think it holds a lot of significance. You know, that was where, during Hurricane Katrina, where all the people in the city migrated, people that were flooded out, people that were fighting for their lives. They all migrated to the Superdome to seek shelter. One thing that struck me when I first arrived here about 2 weeks ago at Union Passenger Terminal is these murals. These murals are absolutely amazing. I was just taking a minute to look at some of the things happening in the mural here. Over here, it looks like we got some scientists at work. Yeah, it looks like I see a surgeon up there performing surgery. We see slaves there working on a plantation. And look at that, there's actually a Klansman there in the mural. The greatest villains of the United States, the KKK. And I think these guys here, I think those are carpetbaggers. Look up here. Up there, there's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Yeah, in these murals you have a Klans member, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. This is some intense stuff occurring. Looks like this guy here is maybe using pesticide or something. That looks like that worm has got into the corn. Oh no, there's a little boll weevil. I think part of this is Mardi Gras here. You can see the Mardi Gras baby in the mural. Yeah, there's just so much. It's absolutely fantastic. They've got some vintage arcade machines. Got Miss Pac-Man over here. And something called Asteroid Deluxe. I remember playing the original Asteroids, never played Asteroid Deluxe. We've got this fortune-telling scale here. I guess I'll step up. How does this work? Let's see. Put your quarter right there. Oh, there it goes. It says I am 200 and almost 260 pounds. I am wearing that backpack, so that actually makes sense. And what's this? It says, who suggested daylight savings time? Benjamin Franklin. So there's like trivia. Does the mirror tell the truth? It's a little distorted. Not sure how this works. So, I dream of pastry. Be careful in business and love. This is interesting. And there is a little gift shop here for your last minute New Orleans souvenirs. You can get your last minute beads here. Load up on beads before you get on the train. And there's the mask there. Although you probably shouldn't wear that while you're getting on the train. Some New Orleans t-shirts. Shirt that just says jazz. Remember, we learned. That's the important thing we learned on this trip. Jazz was originally spelled J-A-S-S. I always love the stuff with the alligators on it. Let's go ahead and check in with Amtrak, make sure everything's going on schedule. I just checked in at the front. They said that when you are staying in a sleeper car, you can wait in the lounge, the Magnolia Room. Okay, here we have the Magnolia Room. Some snacks over here. Get yourself a muffin, some Doritos, and I think I will have a tiny water.
But there are several dozen others. There are bodies of hostages, we understand, but several dozen still being held among those that we believe are alive.
Okay, they just notified us our train was ready. We're gonna go board. And here it is, our train, the city of New Orleans. So we're in the second car down, so we'll be riding near the back of the train. Okay, I think this is our car right here. All right, we're in room number 9, 7, 8, 10, 9, right here. All right, so we're going to be spending the evening. All right, folks, I'm pretty excited to be on the City of New Orleans. The train named the City of New Orleans, not to be confused with the city that is also named the City of New Orleans. We also learned that there was a boat on the Mississippi River called the City of New Orleans as well. But this is a legendary train line. It has been made immortal in song, a country song about the City of New Orleans train, a train called the City of New Orleans, sung by many people over the years, including one Willie Nelson. I'd like to think that Willie Nelson at some point rode aboard this train. Now it has been over a month since I parked my car at my mom's house in northern Indiana, that she dropped me off at Union Station in Chicago. I took the Southwest Chief down to Los Angeles. I was in Los Angeles for almost 2 weeks. Got a visit from my daughter. Spent time with Annabelle in Los Angeles. Then we took the Sunset Limited from Los Angeles through the barren deserts here to New Orleans, and then from there, my original plan was to head straight up to Chicago using this train, the City of New Orleans. But plans change. Plans do change. I was invited to the media preview of Epic Universe. And originally I was going to fly from California to Florida, fly back to California. So made plans for that. Then the event got postponed. I had to wait, and ended up going to New Orleans. I arrived in New Orleans, and then without even having a chance to enjoy the city, jumped on a plane, flew to Orlando. But it's funny because the Sunset Limited train that I took to New Orleans, formerly, before Hurricane Katrina, it actually went all the way through Florida, all the way down to Miami. So I could have, if this was pre-Katrina, could have taken the train to Orlando to enjoy Epic Universe. But alas, the tracks are gone. So I ended up flying out there, enjoying Epic Universe. Had a great time out in Florida. Not only blown away by Epic Universe, but enjoyed some of my favorite theme parks out there as well. And flew back to New Orleans, only to find out my train had been canceled. The City of New Orleans train had been canceled because of weather, I believe. I heard it was flooding and storms. Again, train travel, you got to be relaxed. You got to go kind of roll with it. There's one track taking you across the country. If something goes wrong along that track, it throws everything off. So first, it was getting tired, getting worn out. And I had to spend an extra 3 or 4 days in the City of New Orleans. The city, not the train. And then from there, I ended up enjoying it. I ended up being a blessing in disguise, getting that extra time to spend in New Orleans, because I've had an amazing week here in New Orleans, just taking in the city, taking in the culture, riding the streetcars. It's been an absolute amazing time. But it is time to close the circle. It's time to ride the city of New Orleans up to Chicago. This will be just one night on this train. This is a shorter train. We've done a few 3-day train trips. This is only, I'll be sleeping on the train tonight, and then tomorrow, late tomorrow morning, we'll be arriving in Chicago, completing the loop. I'll be getting my car back, but no spoilers, but I'm not going home. I'm going somewhere else. I think we're gonna go see if there is a sightseer lounge. So this is the cafe car in here. Got the dining car / cafe car. So here's the dining, and then there's the cafe on the other side. So this is the dining area for the cafe car, where you get snacks, hot dogs, burgers, that sort of thing. And we do have a sightseer lounge. And it looks like, for the first time ever, I have the entire sightseer lounge to myself. I guess everyone else is getting settled into their rooms. Usually it's pretty bustling in here. Oh, I heard the horn. And we are moving. We are headed out of the station. We say goodbye to that massive Superdome there, that iconic stadium. And goodbye to the wonderful city, the wonderful and unique city that is New Orleans. Oh, this is a jail here. This swampy area, but actually on the other side of the swamp is the runway for Louis Armstrong Airport. That's the airport they took to get to Florida and back from here. It is kind of a shame that the Amtrak runs so close to the airport. You wish they would have an Amtrak station at the airport. That would have been super convenient, for me at least. Keeping my eyes peeled for alligators here along the marsh. And there you can see some of the runway. It's like the very end, very tip of the runway. So we are on the 58 train, that is the northern version of the city of New Orleans. We're actually stopped right now because the southern headed train, train 59, is going to come and pass us. Oh, there it goes. That was fast. Wow. Okay, train is moving again, and I'm keeping my eyes peeled for gators. There might be some turtles over there. Yeah, riding the train here straight through the marsh. look at this. We're traveling alongside Lake Pontchartrain here. That is one of the bridges that takes you across. We are on the very cusp of this massive lake. Wow. Look at the waves there. This is amazing. I had no idea we were headed over a massive body of water like this. You can see on that side is kind of the marshland, and on this side is the lake. Yeah, my room, fortunately, is very close to the sightseer car. And we are paused again momentarily as they wait for freight traffic to pass on by. See the freight train going by there in the roomette next door. Okay, so the tenant just came and took my order, and on the City of New Orleans, we're on the flexible dining menu, which pretty much means that the food is pre-prepared, not necessarily made here on the train. Kind of like pre-made meals that are heated up. I went with the glazed salmon. I was trying to remember what was the best from last time. It's still pretty good. I remember I liked the butter chicken. It was kind of an Indian dish. So the salmon sounded good for tonight. The town of Hammond, Louisiana. Looky here, while I was out of my room, my food was delivered. Started out with our salad and our dinner roll here. A little packet of ranch dressing. So a little cup of train salad. We'll slather some butter there on our train bread. We got the salmon as the entree. Let's unveil our salmon. Got the rice there, some veggies. And some salmon sauce. There's some of our train salmon there. Forgot what kind of sauce that said. Maybe like a teriyaki sauce, I believe. Well, salmon's decent. I love salmon. It works. We cap things off with a good old reliable butter cake.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for the inconvenience. We are stopped here waiting on another southbound freight train. It is a lot. Keep the seat next to you clear of any personal items.
And into Jackson, Mississippi here.
So when these folks board, they'll have a place to sit. We are assigning them seats as they board here in Jackson. Thank you for your cooperation. This is a smoke stop. If you'd like to step off the smoke indoor structure lights. Jackson, Mississippi, this station stop.
All right, Our first fresh air stop here in Jackson, Mississippi. Take a peek over here. Looks like somehow the train station's actually on the second story here. If you look down, you actually look down onto the street there in Jackson. And there's the Hilton Garden Inn of Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah, I think this is actually the roof of the train station here. There's no one back here in the Sightseer Lounge right now. And yeah, you can see there you enter the train station on the top and then go down those stairs into the building.
If you do not go to the seats that were assigned, we'll have to remove you from the train in order to make sure that we have adequate seats for people traveling with their children. So please go to seats we're assigned to avoid any confusion and so that you may make it to your destination. Thank you for your cooperation.
I'm in the overhead lowered level down here. I need all available space for large luggage on these luggage racks. We have more people getting on the next several stops. I need every bit of room on these luggage racks. So if you have anything small, please come downstairs and get those bags.
This is the town of Yazoo City, Mississippi. There's a baseball game going on. Headed into Greenwood, Mississippi. Taking a very quick fresh air stop here in Greenwood. A little peek at the town. And a very quick fresh air stop here in Greenwood, Mississippi. See, we're all the way in the back of the train. Front's all the way down there. And goodbye to you, Greenwood, Mississippi. I felt like I hardly even got to know you. We are headed into Memphis, Tennessee. Our last gasp of fresh air for the evening as we stop here in Memphis. See that big old moon in the sky. It's a cool night here in Memphis. Looks like they have a hotel here right at the train station. See out onto the Mississippi there. That bridge that takes you from Arkansas into Tennessee. You can see that structure right there is actually the old Memphis monorail that used to go over to Mud Island that is currently not operational. There is the Memphis Welcome Center there. Look what's coming up here. See the Memphis Pyramid, the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid. Been there many times. The giant pyramid here on the Mississippi River. It was purchased by Bass Pro Shops, turned into a giant outdoor world. It's originally a sports arena. I can see it flashing different colors. We are rumbling through the night, traveling through western Tennessee on the city of New Orleans. I think we're going to be cutting into a little corner of Kentucky and then heading up into Illinois for the final leg. Late tomorrow morning we should be arriving at Union Station in Chicago, Illinois, completing the circle. And yeah, so far this has been a really nice little ride here on the city of New Orleans. It's shorter, a lot shorter than the other trains, the other named trains I've been on. You know, the Empire Builder, the California Zephyr, take you all the way out, almost across the country. Been on the Texas Chief, the Southwest Chief, and the Texas Eagle. And then we took the Sunset Limited to get from Los Angeles to New Orleans. So this is just kind of an overnight trip. I really enjoyed like the New Orleans section, you know, driving through the swamp, riding through that along Lake Pontchartrain. I thought was really beautiful. So yeah, nice ride here on the city of New Orleans, although we really hit a rough patch there for a while. That was the roughest patch of train tracks here. I think while we were going through Mississippi, I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Thank you guys so much for following along with these videos, for following along. It's been a month since I parked my car at my mom's. She gave me a ride to the train station in Chicago. We've been on trains. Took a train down to Los Angeles. We took a train to New Orleans, and I took a plane to Orlando for Epic Universe. And we rented some automobiles in between there. I think I had 2 different rental cars during this whole journey. But yeah, part of me is excited to get back to my automobile. Now, not going home. I got some big plans, but they don't involve going home quite yet, or maybe for some time actually. But I'll get all into all of that soon. I'll let you guys know what's going on soon here on the channel. But I just want to let you guys know, you know, I'm not a perfect person. Sometimes I get angry. You know, I have a lot of anxiety. I make bad decisions sometimes. But I promise that when I make mistakes, I try to do better the next time. I try to come from a place that's genuine. I try to come from a place that's positive. I try to put stuff out in the world that makes people smile, and that puts good energy out there. And that's how I choose to live my life. And you know, this is a silly channel. We do silly stuff. We go down slides. We go to strange and unusual places. One day I'm going down slides at Storyland. The next day I'm at the scene of a brutal murder. Not an active scene, but a scene of a brutal murder in New Orleans. Eating crawfish beignets this morning. Trying to figure out how to ride a bus. Trying to get some of those basics down. But I try to come from a place that's genuine. And if you take anything away from this channel, you know, try to approach the world with kindness in your heart. Try to approach things that you do with kindness and passion and a sense of wonder. And make the decision, because the world can be mean, the world can be harsh, the world makes our decisions for us. The world decides when our time is up. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be riding trains. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be making videos. That's not for me to decide. But what I can fix and what I can decide is what I put out in the world, how I treat people. And so, when you're putting things out in the world, whether it be art, whether it be just a conversation, whether it be just how you treat another person, try to do that with kindness. Do that in a positive way. Put positive things out into the world. Put kind things out in the world. Put fun things out in the world. Choose to not tear down others' joy. Choose to not try to revel in misery. Try not to revel in anger. Just try to smile every once in a while and approach the world with as much positivity as you have inside of you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for watching these silly videos. Thank you for watching a man stumble through life and somehow manage to have a lot of fun along the way. And if you like these videos, you can subscribe. You know, just if you want to. And you know, if you like these videos I'm making, if you like the stuff I do here, you can give some money on Patreon. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not saying you should do that. But if you feel like, you know, I enjoy this and I want to give a little something extra to what's going on, consider Patreon. Patreon's really kind of allowed me to continue doing this as my job, as my career. And you know how it works. You can give as much as you want. You can give nothing at all. But if you give at least $3 you will get a postcard every month. If you give a little extra, you can get a vintage postcard every month, and all that really helps. Also, if you just want something fun, want a little souvenir of what we do here, check the Etsy shop. We have enamel pins like I have in my hat, pressed pennies like I travel. I got a big bag of pressed pennies in my luggage. That's probably why it was so heavy today. We got the motel key fobs there, and some stickers, just some fun stuff in the Etsy shop. And if you want to get a message from me, a personalized message, I can do that on Cameo. If you want to send a message yourself, or if you got a question for me, all that information is in the description of the video, and all that helps keep this train on the track, this boat in the water. There's the Mississippi River's out that way somewhere, and it also helps keep this dirigible in the air. Never rode a dirigible. If anyone knows how I could ride a blimp, if anyone has a blimp connection, I learned it's really hard. You can't just buy a ticket, you have to be like gifted a ticket. If anyone is a blimp operator, get in touch with me. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.